Time for comic reviews. 2 weeks. Joy. We'll start off with last week's stuff. If you're not familiar with my format here on Stupid Chainsaw Productions, I go from my least favorite to favorite pick, and I give it from 1 to 5 stars, sometimes 0 if it's that awful. I don't recall in recent history, as in the last 2 months, of me giving it 0. So, we'll start off my least favorite pick from last week. Robin Rising Omega. This was a $4.99 issue that didn't need to be $4.99. In fact, it didn't need to exist. I enjoyed this. It was good to just get a recap on what's going on. This issue is a recap. A lot of new stuff happens at the end, which I don't understand why it could have been in Batman and Robin issue 33, but I digress. This was the history of Damian Wayne, from Batman and Son through when Dick Grayson was Batman, and they had that Batman and Robin series, to Bruce Wayne's return, to then the events with that have happened in Batman and Robin with sorry, I'm having to speak over my family who's being loud upstairs to be loud upstairs. From when Damian killed that guy in the first 6 issues and had to live with it. When Damian had to then prove to be the best Robin by fighting Tim Drake and Jason Todd, and then Dick's like, look, you don't have to be best Robin, just be a good Robin. To the events of Death in the Family, to his inevitable, to Damian's inevitable death and Talia's death, and Batman learning to try to cope with the death of his son and live with it, and then with the recent stuff, with this last story arc where Damian and Talia's bodies were taken by Ra's al Ghul. And we get to right where we left off with this guy coming from another dimension. Batman, Ra's, Frankenstein, and these Yetis and ninjas fight these interdimensional aliens. And then kind of a Justice League shows up. We had no Supes. We had Shazam, which now I hate Shazam because of this. Well, this and Batman and Robin, I don't like Shazam anymore. We had Lex Luthor, which, why is he on the Justice League? Come on. The guy's evil. He's a bad guy. It's Cyborg, which I was fine with. Wonder Woman and Aquaman and some other Frost dude. Are you kidding me? I'm not picking that up. It can bring all at once. I'm not picking it. Oh, good. Someone picked it up. So anyway, this gets a 2 out of 5 stars. It's good for a minority, but not good for the majority, and that's where it gets its stuff. Moving on, we go to Supergirl, issue 33. The conclusion to Red Daughter of Krypton. Well, Supergirl is inevitably going to be tied into Doomed. I know this. They had to get her out of the interesting Red Daughter of Krypton story arc, throw her into Doomed. Because, you know, every super book has to be put in Doomed. So Kara is plummeting down to Earth. She still has the ring, but she's fighting the first world killer. Now, if you recall back to issues like 6, 7, and 8, she fought the rest of the world killers single-handedly, and they nearly killed her. So she's fighting the most powerful one, and for some reason, they shot a bomb into Kansas that let out kryptonite into their atmosphere. So then she gets really pissed off and then relies on the power of the ring and fights this armor to the sun. Like, she becomes one because this world killer is just really armor and like a symbiote, kind of like Venom. So she takes it to the sun and then exerts herself to the point where she dies, but then gets she pulls the ring off and dies. So now Guy Gardner thinks she's dead. Then she recharges in the sun, beats the shit out of this the World Killer and throws him into the sun where he perishes. If he doesn't perish, I'll be pissed off because that's stupid. Then we go, and then she's like, oh, there's this old alien invasion, I gotta stop it. And that's how the issue ends. And then there's this crap on the side. I don't even know what they were talking about, but Superboy was in it, and Superboy's immediately lame. So, ugh. This gets a 3 out of 5 stars, just half good, half bad. Not the way I would have ended Red Daughter of Krypton, but they had to end it somehow to put it in Doomed. Moving on to a book that is the prime example of don't judge a book by its cover. This is Teen Titans #1 from this new reboot. And as you can tell, this is set up like a social media page. And they've got like everyone tagged. And then they got hashtags. It's a terrible cover, but it's not a bad book. I went into this with a love for the cartoon from Cartoon Network. And in that team we had who I assume was Dick Grayson, Robin. We had Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg. That was the team. That's not the case anymore. We still have Raven and Beast Boy. Beast Boy's hair is hideous, like he's trying to be in an anime. And Raven's costume's pretty rad. It's pretty cool. And then we got this guy Bunker who makes like brick walls. He was pretty chill. And then we have Wonder Girl, who's really violent and threw some guys off of a bus. And we have Red Robin instead of Nightwing or Robin, depending on Teen Titans you read, because, you know, Dick Grayson's being Grayson right now and a secret agent. Because that's a good idea. Not. So, we get to this. In this, the Teen Titans basically, they save a busload of kids from this crazy person. And the crazy person gets away. I don't know what their beef is, but we'll find out in the next issue. 4 out of 5 stars. When your expectations are so low, you could find them with dinosaur bones. It's nice to have a pleasant surprise, and the opposite of new Suicide Squad. Shots fired. I knew I'd say it or Devin would say it, so I said it. Next, moving on to a series that I wished I had jumped on at issue 1 because it's ending at issue 32. This is Thunderbolts, issue 28. This is explaining Punisher was set up and he was at a safe house. His safe house exploded. That was the end of last issue. This issue picks up with what was happening at the beginning of the last issue with the Thunderbolts. From the Avengers' perspective, the Avengers were fighting aliens, big shocker. And Hawkeye is being narrated by Hawkeye, who's not a superhero. He just is the guy with good instincts and a bow and arrow. Basically Green Arrow, but for the Marvel Hawkeye's trying to figure out what's going on. They think Punisher was behind some of the things, and Ghost Rider. They don't get traces of anyone else. Meanwhile, Red Hulk is like, alright, Punisher's fired, blah, blah, blah. You guys need to rethink your stuff. So, Deadpool has sex with Death, and that's the best part of the book. Not to be a perv, but it's so funny. It's so wacky. Like, he comes home, he's like, honey, I'm home, and then these assassins come in, and they beat the crap out of them and, like, kill them or something. And then they have sex. And it's just so wacky. And it's exactly what I would think of Deadpool being married to Death itself. It was fun. Elektra's really upset because she had the hots for Punisher or something that I missed because I picked this up last issue. But, she and Hawkeye duke it out, and Elektra gets shot in the shoulder, and Hawkeye gets his ass kicked. And Punisher sneaks in when they're at a meeting. Oh yeah, Ghost Rider fights werewolves. Since Ghost Rider's weird, I didn't care. But then we get to Red Hulk's like, okay, you guys are staying, blah, blah, blah. And then Punisher sneaks in and steals the only gun that can harm Red Hulk. So I'm hoping at the end of this series, Red Hulk bites it, because he's the weakest link of this series. And it also gets 4 out of 5 stars. Moving on to Manifest Destiny, issue 8. Manifest Destiny is one of those series where I just love it. And I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's just the weirdness of it. And I'm a big fan of history stuff. I always like Lewis and Clark stuff. And this take on it with all the weird creatures, it's just a fun read. It's really dark. And we discover a new creature, a giant mosquito, as it eats some guy who's trying to rape some chick. And it's like, ooh. And Lewis puts clothes back on because the nude swimming was just too... Ick. So this gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. Not much happened, but it's so entertaining. I just love it. This series. Now we go to my pick for last week, Miss Marvel issue 6. Changing pencil lists, because personally this arc needed a different artist. It didn't need another colorist. Colorist was fine. It needed another artist because her dad looks hideous. He's a horrible racist character. I find it utterly racist when he's drawn, and it bothers me. It takes me out of the book, and it makes me annoyed. But with this, Miss Marvel finally meets this bird dude who's a kind of a clone of Thomas Edison, and also stuck with a bird. It's nonsensical. It's just kind of funny at the same time. Wolverine shows up, and Miss Marvel does what any of us would do if Wolverine showed up. Total fan girls out. It was funny, and at the end she's protecting Wolverine from a giant monster, like a giant crocodile. 5 out of 5 stars. Excellent read. Best of the series, but the only thing about this is you have to pick it up from issue 1 and read. This isn't a good jumping on point. Now we move to this week. Oh boy. Boy oh boy. Red Lanterns issue 33 is my least favorite pick for this week. It was basically the guy from Green Lantern Corps and guys sitting in a bar, and they get in a bar fight. And someone betrays someone. I don't even remember, and I read it today. It is so bland. It's what you call filler, and Dexter barely spoke, so I was annoyed. So this gets 2 out of 5 stars. Next we get... Sorry, my dad's complaining. Next is Batman and Robin, issue 33. Batman and is now being called Batman and Robin. So this is Robin Rising Part 1, because they couldn't fit Robin Rising Omega into this. This book was too short. That's its biggest problem. And the fact I hate Shazam. Batman teleports to the Justice League space station or some shit. And he gets in a fight with everyone. And he calls Aquaman a hypocrite, which was funny. And Wonder Woman talks him down. That's the gist of all the action. But then the ending put this above Red Lanterns. The ending to this, Superman shows up. I'm glad he had time with his lovely Doom Dark to, show up and have a heart-to-heart. He smiled, because that's so rare now with Superman, which is really unfortunate. He's supposed to be a nice guy, and then he's brooding all the time. So he and Bruce talk, and then he flies off. And then, so Bruce goes down to the Batcave, and what do you know? For the first time in a long time, we have Batgirl, Red Robin, and Red Hood, all in the Batcave. they're gonna go to another dimension and they're gonna go save Damian. Hopefully. I knew this was going to happen in order to get the family back together after what happened with Death of the Family. And I'm not being a pessimist like half of you probably think I am and saying, oh, he hated it. I didn't. I figured this would happen sooner or later, and I'd rather have it this now than have it be something stupid later. Is it as good as some of the times that the Bat Family's broken up? No. But it's decent, and it will get the plot going. This gets 3.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on to the little series that's been up and down and is going to end soon. Star Wars Legacy Volume 2. This is issue 17. Darth Red officially has become a dumbass. He pretty much fucked up by kidnapping Zhao, our Imperial Knight friend, and trying to make him his apprentice. He reveals that in this issue. Anya, with the permission of the Empress, takes a squad of stormtroopers along with AG and her Mon Cal friend, whose name is escaping me, to the planet floating around in space that we learned last issue was experimented on with a super Sith weapon that destroyed the whole life forms on the planet. Picture the things from a combination of the thing that happened to Dark Empire and Dark Empire 2 and Empire's End put together. Just destroyed the life force of the planet, and it was so powerful it knocked it out of orbit, so there's been this planet floating around for this whole series. Probably in the last Legacy series it was floating around too. With this, Darth Red has been killing other Sith, so he could be the ultimate Sith. He is getting rid of what Darth Krot brought back from the Old Republic, which was the colony of the Sith. And Darth Red revealed in issue 6 that he wanted to be the only Sith. And a shocking twist. But now another twist. Spoilers. I'm going to have to spoil this whole thing because I have to talk about it. He reveals to Zhao that he wants him to be his apprentice because of the rule of 2. And I have a feeling that Zhao might go to the dark side. I don't know. It's very fascinating. But all these Sith show up. And they're like, you've been killing our masters, and now we're going to kill you, Darth Red. And so the Stormtroopers pretty much get slaughtered. But one of them calls for backup. And Imperial Knights show up. So we're going to have a huge lightsaber battle for every fanboy's porn. Lightsaber porn. We all love it. So I'm pretty excited to see how this concludes. We got 3 issues to wrap this up, and it's looking good. I'm excited. This gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on, we get to the tie-in that wasn't a tie-in, but was. Amazing Spider-Man issue 4, my pick of the week. Very slim. It was almost Star Wars Legacy, but this was just so fascinating. I've been not liking Amazing Spider-Man. From the glorified preview issue that was issue 1, to fighting Electro because the movie Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out and he was the main villain, to this Black Cat arc that could be better, but it hasn't been. This Original Sin tie-in, I was talking to Devin'sComics, and I was so annoyed that sorry, they're fucking yelling. With this, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled we were going to have Original Sin. Devin just kept reassuring me. Most of these Original Sin tie-ins, with the exception of like the Avengers, aren't really tie-ins, but they are. So I'm like, okay, I'll go in with an open mind. And I went in and I was impressed. The beginning ties into Original Sin. Peter's in a meeting trying to figure out a way to help Electro and imprison him at the same time so they could have a new prison to because he blew up the last one. And he gets a call from the Avengers because for some reason, and I don't get this, Dan Slott, you're just retconning essentially all the damage you did with Superior Spider-Man that should have lasted longer, but it isn't. So the Avengers call him, and Spider-Man's like, hey, throughout this battle, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's not, he's like, hey, Doc Ock was in my mind, and then Wolverine says what I wanted to say, which is shut up and fight, pretty much. So, moving on, we get to the good of this issue. Peter finds out all these secrets about a girl who was bitten by a spider that was set up in issue 1. And I've been wondering, who is this? Is this Spider-Woman? And I'm like, it can't be Spider-Woman. So this chick, he finds this chick in like a laboratory, again, a test facility, and she's got spider powers too, and she's more powerful than him. Well, this guy, I'm going to look it up, because he was someone I'm not familiar with, because although I'm becoming a bigger fan of Spider-Man, it's just, I don't know, some of these villains are just weird to me. Let me look it up. The girl, her name's Cindy. I'm sorry about this, guys. I should have been more prepared. Yeah. Moreland. Spider-Man's apparently killed him twice, but I didn't know. I don't know if that happened in Superior or it happened in Amazing and like the last 100 issues, but he's killed him twice. And meanwhile, Black Cat kidnaps Peter's kind of partner. I guess. I don't know. So she's going to try to make Spider-Man pay. And then Peter and Cindy, at the end of this, are going to have some fun spider sex. And Mahoney said it best. He went on the Facebook group today, and I'm going to read his quote because it sums up the ending of this book really well. Hopefully I can find it here. Sorry, okay. I'm going to read his post. Just read Amazing Spider-Man number 4, comma. What the fuck just happened? And that sums it up, but it's a good what the fuck just happened. It was an entertaining, like, what comes after this? I mean, I don't need another Original Sin tie-in to this. The one shot, I understand its purpose, and it worked well. This book was pretty much excellent with these slight snafus in the beginning, giving it 4.7 out of 5. And that's all my reviews for this week. You know, if you like it, give it a like, blah blah blah. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Let me whore myself out some more. I'm not good at that stuff, so anyway, guys, have a nice day. And hopefully, if you make videos, your family doesn't have to yell through the whole thing.